Hello, everybody. Welcome to 20-minute rants. No notes, just vibes. My name is Matthew. Today, topic is the channel. The whole purpose of this, why I started it, what it is going to be. So, my thought process behind this is I enjoy talking, I enjoy expressing my opinion, I enjoy getting it out there, and I wanted a way to do it in a way that represented who I am and in a way that gets my voice out there. I think that 20 minutes is the perfect amount of time to have a good one sided conversation about whatever topic is going on in my head, whatever I'm thinking about on any question, anything going on in general, and just being able to talk about it, stream of consciousness, and really get it out there for people to listen to. I enjoy talking, which I think is very beneficial, but I've also heard that people enjoy listening to me. From people, from friends, family, just random people I meet, conversations in general. And I thought that this was a good place to start. Just start talking, see where it goes. The 20 minutes I thought was, again, the right amount of time to really be able to have the stream of consciousness progress over a period of time. It's not just a quick 1 minute response, it is a thorough deep dive into how I think and how I express myself. The purpose of it being a rant, having no notes, just vibing, is, I think, so much better. I think if you have notes, if you have structure, it really adds to trying to get a specific opinion or a specific purpose going. Whereas just kind of streaming your thoughts, seeing where it progresses, seeing how it continues, I think is significantly better because the progression and the evolution of a conversation isn't just 1 minute snippets. Traditionally, obviously, there was back and forth between one person and another, but this is so much more just me and my microphone, my bottle of water, and a timer. Seeing how far I can get into a conversation without deviating way too much, but even if I do deviate, that not being an issue. I think now is the perfect time to start this for me. I'm just right now transitioning between a bunch of different things, and I had a good conversation with some of my friends on the way back from a trip and thought, hey, fuck it, right? Why not? What is there to lose? I think that there's so much benefit to people just getting their voice out there. We're in a world where so much is happening and it feels like everyone's opinion is kind of beginning to meld into one. Not everyone, well, everyone has their own individual voice. It feels more and more that people are not expressing that, not expressing their opinion. It feels like it's all less individualized and more a conglomerate of one idea among many. Very much a sheep and sheep in a herd following the same idea without truly understanding it and expressing it. With stuff like AI really showing up, people are now less than ever. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not really reading for themselves. That's all letting something happen on and to them, right? They're not getting their own opinions out. They're not thinking, which I think is a really, really unfortunate side effect of these technological growths that we're having. Obviously, AI has tons of potential benefits, but I think at the moment it's doing more harm than good, especially to the younger generation, even in people in school now, right? Testing has to change. The whole way that we've thought about schooling is going to have to change because of AI being such a prevalent piece now. I think there are benefits to it. Medical field, math, those are the things that I think can be really helpful. Obviously, we've known computers have been better at math than humans for forever. If you look at chess robots, the best players in the world will lose to a treadmill, right? Like the technology and what the technology is good at is clearly so much better than what humans could ever be. And now they are better at summarizing and summarizing quickly, maybe not summarizing efficiently and effectively to the standard that you would want. But that is where people's personal analysis should have to come into play. People should have to learn and know how to weed it out originally. That was a big, big thing when the internet started up. When the internet started, everyone was like, "Oh, you can't trust it." Wikipedia. Ooh, be careful. This what is real. Being able to decipher that information was such a key skill, I felt. Where now everyone just up, I have a question, throw it into AI, what does it pop out? Even something like Google. You can Google something now, which is a thing that a lot of, oh, I have a question, I don't understand it. Does anyone I know it? No. Cool, let me Google it. And now you've got this, like, frankly, really shitty AI response that, yeah, cool, it's quick. I don't have to go searching through and finding it. So it is quicker, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is better and getting the key answer that I would want out of it. The benefits to something like AI, technically, the sky's the limit. But I think the harm that it can do is just starting to be interpreted. We are seeing people and companies figure out, oh, what's cheaper, a person or AI and jobs, and the whole job search being absolutely mudded currently, given everything going on in the world. But for the most part, it is not. It's not. We're not seeing the necessary benefits at the moment. I think that is something that'll come future on down the line. And being able to do something innately human, like I am currently, ranting, giving off my own opinions and expressing that is something that is innately human that we're not gonna really be able to see. Again, that is becoming scarcer and scarcer with people having their own opinions and being genuinely thoughtful, and that's just sad, frankly. I think looking at what have made humans so dominant as the dominant species, it is being able to write things down, language, being able to put information and be able to grow and stack on top of that. I think that's all extremely, extremely important. And sadly, that's becoming less and less of a thing. Yes, obviously, we have all the information at the tip of our fingers, wherever we want, whenever we want, but people don't care to learn. I think learning is super important, but it feels like learning has been more and more pushed away and is made not enjoyable by people. So many people hate school because the they make the idea of learning not fun. I think learning is so important. Finding something that you can be interested in, wanting to grow that kind of self sufficient idea, wanting to grow for your own sake. That I think is super cool. I think that's super important. That's where you get passion from. And so many times you see that passion get killed. It gets nipped in the bud early, like a bad gardener, and you're left with this thing that's just sadly not beneficial to anyone. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that a lot of people's strive to grow and get better, learn, improve really gets halted extremely early on because of a poor system. And I think that the system is going to change a lot because of how much AI is changing. Everything, obviously, testing is kind of becoming irrelevant. We might be going back to paper, handwritten things. I hated learning cursive. I was like, I'm never going to learn this. I'm never going to use this. I despised it. But now, people, it's all moved on to typing. Typing, that was the huge thing. But now you can't even trust that because people are having to do forensic analysis on a document to see whether or not someone actually typed it or not. And even that's changing because now you're going to have an AI that will replicate keystrokes like it is genuinely typing it. Obviously, there'll be intricacies, typing speed, going all at one time. There's tons of intricacy to doing that, but that's not what it should be. It should be expressing your opinion and communicating it. I think presentations and the ability to speak is going to be so unbelievably favorable in the near future. I think it's important now. You can see so many great people and so many bad people doing simultaneously good and bad just because they are convincing and have a good way of speaking, good conversation, good conversationalists, along with knowing what riles people up. You can see tons of that in the current world, and you see the masking and the cover ups and all of that whole process happen day in, day out. I can assume many people are thinking of plenty of different things, and that's part of my point. There is not one specific thing that you can point to and be like, this is someone that's doing it for good, or this is someone doing it for bad. It's just, frankly, a part of human speech. The ability to be convincing and be entertaining and being able to have a, like I am now, a forethought and a whole continuous conversation just to have people listening, I think is a very, very important tool. Sadly, it has been less and less and less. Now it is all about how could you make your point. Obviously, with a standard paper, you've got your arguments and how can you defend your arguments and all that, and that is the same in a conversation. However, you don't need to do it as intensely in a conversation as you do on a paper. In a research paper, you look at those long, very long research papers, thesis analysis, thesis defenses, all of those kinds of things. That is where having to have tons and tons of defense work for your paper makes a lot of sense. I think it's really difficult to get a really good, thorough defense of an argument in 3 paragraphs, which is what we were taught in school. At least I was. You got your 3 paragraphs. You got your intro, you've got your outro, your conclusion paragraph, and then you've got your 3 arguments. You got to introduce your arguments in your initial, then you've got 1 paragraph dedicated to each argument, then you've got your conclusion. Sometimes one of your arguments is all you really need. If you can have one argument that's really good that can back up and defend your overall point, that leads you to a much better, more successful traditional conversation argument in my head. If you've got one person that has one really good point and it makes a lot of sense, you don't go, okay, well, what else? I mean, you can, but sometimes it's not about the second and the third argument if your first argument is that unbelievably good. If you've got the smoking gun, that is so much easier to prove your point than circumstantial evidence. The overall benefit to conversation is people are so much you can turn and you can sway a lot more people easily in conversation than in words. People don't read much anymore. Like in general, people do not read as much. People will doom scroll and people will get their information elsewhere. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes listening and viewing videos, podcasts, like what I'm doing now, there is still a good way to get information in. There's nothing wrong with it. But people do not read enough anymore. People hear the headline, they see the headline, they hear a clip, they hear a small audio portion, and they think of it as gospel. They agree with it, and that's what they go off of. That really shows a lack of true understanding, right? We are seeing this so much more with cancel culture. Headline comes out, someone did something wrong, everyone dogpiles on someone, and then comes out, oh, they didn't actually do it. Damage is done already. And that leads to 2 bigger things because it's leading to the distrust of actual victims and it's leading to the defense of innocent people, which is totally normal. However, when you're defending people that are guilty because they're not defending themselves and you are trusting people just because of the claim that they made, that is unfortunately a much bigger, more damning thing to society. Except when we have evidence of people actually doing things, people are like, oh, well, we need to wait for more evidence to come out. And part of it is just like, there's some evidence where you can see it and you're like, this is you. There's the RDC World clip. They caught you in 4K. How have they caught you in 4K? That is exactly what people now use as a baseline, right? If you have the perfect evidence and it is crystal clear, hey, this person did something bad, and something like, it's not enough. And what's happening is people are not making their own individual judgment on these topics. They're waiting for someone else to make their opinion for them before they're able to capitalize on it. And people, a lot of the times with uncomfortable topics, people don't want to talk about it. It's totally normal. It's a normal human thing to kind of not want to push these anxious boundaries, especially in conversation, especially with people, even people that you're close to. It's not a comfortable conversation for people to have about forming opinions and believing in yourself that you have the best opinion, or believing that you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. People don't like often talking about that. They like being supported. People like thinking and having backup and saying, yes, I did do the right thing. They don't like being told that they're wrong. And so much now with AI and these kinds of bases, people are just getting support for their, in my opinion, wrong opinions. If you really want to back up the good or the bad of certain things, I think everyone should make their own opinion. It shouldn't be, oh, I support one side, my side is always has to be right, and the other side is always wrong. Life is more nuanced than a coin flip. It's not black and white. Life is lived in the gray. And being able to capitalize and really deeply understand that gray is what makes life fun. If everyone was just, if everyone agreed on anything, it wouldn't be fun. It's part of why humans lie. If everyone told the truth all the time, the people would deem life boring because there's no drama, there's no nuance. And that's what often people fuel themselves off of. They fuel themselves off of chaos, and that is dangerous. It's not bad, it's just dangerous because if you get all encapsulated and really put into that chaos as your whole being, you don't know what comfort is. I think that humans, naturally want to be comfortable. And the more and more people push themselves out of their comfort zone, there is room for growth. But when your comfort zone becomes not comfortable, that's when you don't know what home is, when you're stuck. That's where the danger comes in. And for some people, what is dangerous is so much shorter or larger than for others. For some people, it is skydiving. For others, it is going out clubbing, going to a bar, meeting people. And that's a large gap. Obviously, not everyone is going to want to go skydiving, but there are people that go skydiving. But just because their boundary is at skydiving doesn't mean that their boundary isn't also at meeting new people. There is such a wide range of what we deem as normal, and people that push that boundary, you exceed and you think are past the normal boundary, as it were. But that's not always true. I think the more and more people get pushed in specific directions, the normal and the thought process surrounding it is always different. People are so unbelievably complicated, and there's no way that we're ever gonna be able to understand them. It's just not possible. It's not it's not important either. I think the more and more you get to understand the people around you, rather than people in general, the happier you will be. Obviously, some people really want to understand everyone. Why do people think? How do people think? Why is our world where it is now? Because of the people. And you realize people are not just a simple thing. It is a very, very complicated stacking of tons of different small moments. Because for some people don't like getting yelled at. I mean, I don't think anyone likes getting yelled at, but some people are genuinely afraid of it because of a thing that happened when they were a kid where their parent raised their voice and it has now scarred the kid for however long. But to the parent, they don't think anything of it. That can be a totally normal thing. Some people will do something that to them is totally normal, and for others is not the end of the world, but is very offensive, and they don't like it. But because people don't like confrontation, they don't stand up for themselves as much. It's it shows how nuanced people are that if you put 10 people in the exact same situation, they're not all going to react the same. Yet that's how our opinions are being put, I feel, via how the world is, social media, AI. We're being pitted against each other to try and exploit the differences rather than the similarities. Um, and I think it's sometimes better to just get your voice out there and be able to talk about it. That's why I'm here right now, talking to my microphone at my computer just to really kind of get my voice out there. And it's not about it being right or wrong. It's about it being mine. The individuality is what I think is important more than anything. If there is more to it, there would be more. If there wasn't, there isn't. That is my 20 minutes up. I will see you next time.